this has to do with bad bossery, and I got to comment on this. So if you like what Elon is doing for Twitter free speech, you still have to have some maturity here to handle this, because this is the way he has led at Tesla. There's all kinds of junk out there. This is interesting stuff. So here we go. Actual email from Elon. If you haven't seen it, it was filtered from this Twitter staff to CNBC, and then they transcribed it. And so here we go. I want to actually read from this, and then I'm going to teach from this. Okay? And leaders, you need to pay attention. Followers, pay attention to this. What do we do with stuff like this? This is the full email that Elon Musk sent to Twitter employees. It's a very short email, so stay with me. Going forward, by the way, the subject was a fork in the road. All right, so that's the subject of the email to Twitter employees from Elon Musk. Going forward, I'm now reading his email. Going forward, to build a breakthrough Twitter 2.0 and succeed in an increasingly competitive world, we will need to be extremely hardcore. What does that mean? Leaders, lesson number 1. Alex, I've decided I'm going to teach live through the email. I was going to read it, then teach. I'm actually going to teach in the middle of the email. Leaders, words matter. One of the, I think, most critical mistakes I see from leaders in the public space, political space, any space, sports, you name it. They treat words as bricks to build a wall to get somewhere. They don't treat words with the sensitivity that they need to. Now, that does not mean you have to sit there and stutter and parse every word, but you need to think about what you're going to say. And you need to choose your words carefully, because here's the deal, leaders. Anybody that has any kind of influence, that's leadership. People take your words and they begin to construct things. Now, can you control that? No. What they do with it. Not completely, but you can control through words emotions that don't need to get out of check. So this is right here. We will need to be extremely hardcore. Now, picture being one of the non-snowflakes at Twitter. There are a lot of snowflakes at Twitter, and they got all up in arms when he bought it. Well, just picture being a person who wants to stay at Twitter. You're not a part of the woke snowflakes, but you've heard all of the noise about him taking over, and this is an email you get. We will need to be extremely hardcore. He does not explain what extremely hardcore means, other than to say this. This will mean working long hours at high intensity. It's like dropping a cinder block on an employee. That's what he says it means. There's no, those words, the words extremely hardcore. What? All right, now, what does that mean? And all he says is long hours and high intensity. So I'm reading this email right here. And if I'm a Twitter employee and I see that sentence, I go, what is that? What does that mean? What does it look like? All I've got are questions. Leaders don't need to create more questions. Leaders need to create more answers. That means you're constantly listening to your team. What are the questions they have? Boom, go get the answer. If you don't know the answer, tell them you don't have the answer and why you don't have the answer and what that means. But give them something. But creating more questions is a sign of really bad leadership. I mean, if it drives any of you nuts, if you've ever watched these political talk shows that'll ask a politician a question, and I don't care what side of the aisle it is, because Republicans and conservatives are just as bad as the liberals and Democrats. They ask them a direct question. Couldn't be more direct. And what do they say? Nothing. So complete word salad. They don't say anything at all. And what does that do to you, the viewer or the listener? It creates angst, because you go, oh, now I got more questions. Why didn't they answer it? What was the reason that they didn't answer it? You know, this kind of stuff. You understand, folks? This is Psychology 101. All right. So the sentence, what is extremely hardcore? He says, working long hours, high intensity. But again, Those are words that are emotionally charged and there's no specific detail. This creates angst and all kinds of stuff. It creates a problem for him. Elon, buddy, I could have helped you write this email. By the way, no mention in here at all of sit down with your direct leader and we'll come up with a new scope of work for you. No, like that would have helped. It would have eased anxiety a little bit. Okay, I get to sit with my leader and I'll get more detail. All right, nothing. Then he finishes the paragraph with this. Only exceptional performance will constitute a passing grade. Okay. Now, I just found out that in order to stay here, I've got to be extremely hardcore, which means long hours, high intensity. I'm just processing that. I'm literally like this. I'm chewing on it. I'm trying to figure that out, and you hit me with exceptional performance will constitute a passing grade. What? Can I give you Ken speak on that sentence? Here's how I read that. Musk says only exceptional performance will constitute a passing grade. I'm a common sense man of the people, Alex. I read that to say this. Only A pluses will be a C. Only A pluses will be a D minus. Am I right? Think about that. What? That doesn't make any sense, Elon. So I got to give you A plus work to get a D minus or a C. I got questions. He goes on to say a few other things about engineering-driven design product, nothing that has anything to do with the. So then he goes, you ready? Ready for this? He goes, if you are sure that you want to be a part of the new Twitter, please click yes on the link below. What are we in? Elementary school? The last time I remember being involved in something like that, I wrote a note to a girl named Emily in the 3rd grade. Do you like me? Yes, no, or maybe. Please check. Now, Elon Musk is sending an email out to everybody at Twitter, and he just dropped those 2 bombs on them, emotional bombs. Number 1, you got to work really long hours at a high intense level. And number 2, you have to turn in A plus work to get a D minus. And now we're going to go, now, if you want to be a part of that, check the box. And then it gets worse. Anyone who has not done so by 5 p.m. Eastern tomorrow, that was Thursday, he sends this out on a Wednesday, will receive 3 months of severance. Whatever decision you make, thank you for your efforts to make Twitter successful. Elon. The guy's tone deaf. He may be brilliant. He's smarter than me as it relates to coming up with a car and, all that crap. But I can tell you what he's not. He's not emotionally smart. This guy is a genius who's a horrible leader. No, a horrible leader sends this email. This is emotionally charged. It creates all kinds of emotional chaos, all kinds of leadership issues. Who had to deal with the aftermath of this? I'm reading this and I'm going, wait a second. I'd like to stay at Twitter, but I kind of need to know what hardcore means beyond long hours and intense effort. And can you explain that? I need to give you A plus effort to get a D minus? Help, Elon. I'm not as smart as you.